How has multi-screen TV culture changed advertising in general?
So it's a very important point because over the last 6 years, us as consumers have had the ability to reach content or to access content from so many different sources. You know, whether we're accessing films or TV shows on a mobile, or a tablet, or a PC, or even a set-top box and VOD. That's created both an enormous amount of opportunities because at the end of the day we are watching more content, but it's also created some issues for people who sell advertising. Because if you're a TV station, in the past it was very easy. You sold the channels on linear TV and it was very straightforward. But now you have to track people where they are, in their homes, at work, in their commutes, on their vacation, on different screens. And both from a technical standpoint as well as a business standpoint, it's become harder for people to aggregate the audiences where they come from. Mm-hmm. And so to give you an example, if you are Ford and you're selling a campaign on a national channel, historically you would have just bought linear channels, linear programs. Now you want to be able to track that program, whichever platform it's on. And the issue that's created is it's hard to measure and it's hard to be able to quantify what those new users mean from an advertiser standpoint. So our goal over the last 5 years has been to be able to create a way that people can reaggregate those audiences together so that when you are selling a campaign or audiences back to the advertisers, it's not just linear, but it's linear plus everything else now. And so really they can benefit from the entire viewership of the content. So it's both an issue because it's become harder to manage. It's generally multiple teams, multiple ways of selling advertising, but it's also a great opportunity because people can now track users on multiple platforms. And so for the advertising world, it's become very interesting. Now for TV, obviously all these new channels are digital channels, right? They are traditionally, they have been competing with the digital players, Google, YouTube. And that's made it difficult because of the mass or the size of these digital players. And therefore TV is at a fork in the road in the sense that they have to monetize these new audiences, but they also have to monetize them against, let's say, lower quality content from YouTube and other platforms who are trying to make a name for themselves in the TV space. And so there's great opportunities, but they have to do it right.
You mentioned Ford. So my next question is, how have they, big brands, adapted to the new rules in advertising?
So I think they initially embraced digital. So anything that was on a digital platform, they viewed as a very cost-effective way to reach audiences. And it's true, digital is a very good way to reach one person at one time. But it doesn't provide the scale that TV does, right? TV is a broad reach, reaching consumer at a mass scale. Digital is a very one-to-one focused relationship. So really the way people are starting to look at it now is it's a complement to TV. You do a TV campaign if you want to build a brand to a mass scale of people, and then you complement that campaign with digital reach. And where that's become difficult if you're in the TV space is you're competing against these very these digital giants who are very good in their digital space. And so TV, in order to build scale for their advertisers, have to combine the power of TV and the power of digital. That's really the key for them now, because in digital they compete with players who have much bigger size than them, but they have much bigger size in TV in reaching. So they have to combine the power of mass reach of TV, broad reach of TV, and the power of individual reach on digital. So that's really their challenge and their opportunity. From an advertiser standpoint, they've come back a little bit from entirely digital. P&G, Mark Pritchard, keeps saying this and has been saying this for 2 years, in that he's not sure of the true value of a user that sits in front of a digital screen. He's not sure if it's a human. He's not sure that he's paying for the right metrics. And so TV is a really opportunity because it's a big screen or it's premium content. People are really engaged with that content. So it's a very powerful message. And I think advertisers are now coming back to very what we call brand safe environment. There is no fraud on a big TV screen. It's not going to be a computer that generates a fake user. It is a user that is watching TV, your premium content. So I think a lot of the brands are now coming back to TV because they're realizing that it's a very safe environment for their brands.
That's why the Super Bowl halftime hasn't lost its value. 30-second spot is like $5 million. There is a new Croatian startup. It's called Behind the Screen. And they say it's a sort of Shazam for TV. Do you think that that's the future of advertising when it comes to television?
So I think I'll say yes and maybe. Right? Yes is definitely because it's data, right? And the future of advertising is around data. TV has to embrace data. And right now it doesn't necessarily have data, right? It's very hard unless you're connected to a device, unless you are watching a live stream on a authenticated portal that's provided by a channel. It's very hard for TV to embrace data. So I think all of these initiatives that match premium contents with data are very powerful. With regards to second screen and the ability to use simultaneous viewing on another device, it's interesting. I think it's a very niche market, but it's very interesting because it keeps feeding data back into TV. So that's what I would say. To me, yes, absolutely, but they have to view this as a way to collect data and create the right advertising for their users, more so than is this a new platform that will generate billions and billions of dollars? Probably not. But can we use those types of platforms to feed back to the channels the data about their users? Absolutely. I mean, it's a live measurement system, if you will. So instead of measuring panels, this is very accurate measurement, just like people in set-top boxes. If you're watching a show on your mobile and we know you are tweeting about the show, we know you are using the app to know what show you're watching, all of a sudden that becomes very relevant audience measurement. So that's what I would say.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.